Hi, and welcome to From the Gallery. I'm your host, Lori Neuenfeldt, Gallery Director in the Department of Art here at Mississippi State University. Today, I'm welcoming to the show Joe MacGown, who is a local artist and also works over in entomology at Mississippi State University. Hi, Joe, and welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, Lori.
So I want to first mention you do work here at Mississippi State University. Before we get into talking about your art, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do over with entomology?
Well, I've been working for the Entomology Museum now for a little over 31 years, and my job is varied. I do research. I study ants and some beetles, especially ants. I do our museum website. I do some scientific illustration, photography, macro photography of insects, some videography. I do a lot of collecting, survey work in the Southeast especially.
So what are some of the skills that you use? I know we've talked a bit about how if you're using the website or you're using your illustration skills to help with the research that's coming out of that museum. Yeah.
Well, I have educational tools on the website. For example, I have a website about ants of the southeastern United States. And I have identification keys in there, species pages with photographs I've taken. I've written papers about ants and other insects. And I can, because I'm an artist, I can add things that maybe other scientists wouldn't, interesting illustrations that make it where it's easy to learn the subject.
Because artists using those skills as a communicator, those visual
that's
tools
right,
as well, layout and design. How did you get into entomology or the study of ants, I guess?
I mean, my father got his PhD in entomology here at MSU in the early 70s, late 70s, and so I grew up as a kid collecting insects. I knew a little bit about it, but originally I was hired by Dr. Richard Brown, our director, as an illustrator. He knew I was an artist, and he had a small project and hired me to do some illustration.
Wow, you've been there for how long again?
31 years.
31 years, I love it.
I love working there.
Many more years to come, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, a few more.
A few more. Well, the reason that I wanted to have you on the show today was to talk more about your art. You've been making art, sounds like your whole life. So why don't you tell us a bit about that first early experiences and then leading up to where you are today?
As a kid, I grew up in Maine, in the woods or along the coast, and I was drawing and painting both normal, realistic scenes and things out of my imagination from very early. 4 years old, I can remember distorting things. And I developed my own style. I was sort of in an artistic bubble, a vacuum maybe. Didn't know much about other artists. And then just kept working on that, honing that, working with different media, natural things. I'd draw on tree bark. I'd made things out of clay, whatever I could do. I sold my first oil painting when I was 11.
Wow.
And I had a lot of good success in high school with art competitions. And
so when did you move to Mississippi?
1974.
1974. And did you go right into an art program in any of the schools, or how did that work out?
No, at the time, art wasn't real important, it seemed like, in the school systems, and we didn't have an any kind of art program to speak of. So just worked on my own. Developing my own style further. I can't help but do art. It just flows out of me. I'm very manic about it. I don't sleep much. I never have. I'm up all night, doing what I can.
Making sense of the world around you. I think that's what some artists do. If you can't sleep, that's what we do when we sleep. We file away all of these things that happen during the day, and maybe your art is a tool of some sort.
My art is I suppose a coping mechanism on dealing with the world and everything. And now that I study science as well, that all comes into play. It goes into my art.
Interesting. So you brought some images that show, and I guess interior view of some of your studio, where we can see some of your works. So this is just a view of you can see how full this wall is and this space is, and then there's your tools, your making tools down in front. What would you describe your style as?
Well, some people call it a surreal or visionary, but I call it subconscious meandering because in general, I have no idea of what I'm going to do. These pictures here are mostly on wood, and I'm using colored inks, especially from bottles. You can see some pictured near the base in the middle there. And I randomly apply inks onto the wood after I've primed it, and then I draw on top of it with a rapidograph pen. It has permanent India ink in it. And it's in a back and forth effort. Some of these images may take 200, 300 hours. I've worked on some pieces for multiple years.
And they can be very, very large. I know I saw some of your pieces recently in the Cotton District Arts Festival. Do you enjoy working large or small, or does it just depend on, I guess, your entry point?
You know, what I work on often has to do with my materials. I recently did a fun blue piece. It's 2 by 4 feet, and everything's blue. Even the ink in the pen, I use blue ink. And someone had recently given me some really fun blue inks. So I'm like, I'm going to use these. So I've done several blue pieces. But there's certain, I do smaller pieces and everything in between.
Yeah, and they have, your works also have many layers and a lot of details. What are you thinking about when you're making your work?
I try not to think when I'm actually creating art. I like to think the rest of the time, and I like to bring things into my head and let everything flow in. I observe everything, from politics to, you know, the way we believe in various religions, for how we interact with people, how we're, you know, how we treat our planet, you know, the interactions we have with our various environments, habitats, you know, and of course insects and plants, which I study under a microscope. It all goes in there, and I just let it flow out naturally. I really don't think about it.
Yeah. Do you carve out a time of the day? Do you structure your work? I mean, many artists have to do that. They say, you know, this is the time of day that I work, and I work for this many hours a day. Do you find it necessary for you to do that, or are you just? No,
I really don't need to do that. I do have a full-time job here at MSU, and so it's difficult. I essentially have 2 full-time jobs. So I'm not one of these artists that needs to be inspired. I'm always inspired. Every little thing inspires me, and that's true. And so if I have 5 minutes, 10 hours, 5 hours, 3 minutes, I can go in and work on something. And I usually have multiple things going at any given time.
Sounds like making is a must. I would almost be scared to see if you weren't making anything.
I'm really not happy if I don't get to draw every day.
So along with making and working your full-time job, you're also involved with some community activities to help promote the arts here in Starkville and even in our own region. Do you want to talk about those projects?
You know, I love sharing my art with the community and the region and really anywhere I can. And there's been a void, I suppose, in the region. And we have a lot of creative people, but we haven't had a lot of great venues to showcase our art. So I'm just trying to create opportunities for myself and other creative people to show their art and maybe sell it. Yeah. And it's been rewarding. So Sunday Fun Day is one of these activities, or one of these, I guess, promotional areas that it happens. How often? Tell us where
so
I organize a little festival. It's called Sunday Fun Day. It's 6 times a year it's the last Sunday of the month from May through October, 1 to 6 p.m. And it's over in near the City Bagel on University Drive. We have live music, we have vendors, art vendors, we have kids' art activities. It's a great mix of people coming, diversity of people. So people can shop for artwork, and then their kids can make, and there's also food. Yeah, we have food. And it's a great way to bring art to the public and have it out. And it was an experiment at first. This will be our 3rd year, and at first we didn't have any support. And then last year we started getting sponsors, and we were able to pay musicians. That's great. Not charge vendors to participate. Yeah. And we're looking for artists who make their own work, you know. But that's been fantastic. Do you think that it's also providing opportunity for a lot of the young artists who live in town? I know we have a lot affiliated with the university, that teaching them the skills that they need to bring their art and sell their art, talk about their art? Yeah, it's been great for young artists. That and other pop-up shows that we're doing in the area, and not just Starkville, Meridian, Tupelo, the coast. Sunday Funny, we had a kid that was 13 years old selling. That's great. They're learning how to deal with sales taxes and dealing with the public and taking in money. We had several artists last year under age 19, college, high school, homeschool. You know, that was amazing. That's a great opportunity. And so talking about the shows, I guess your artwork is also getting a lot of attention nationally and internationally. So expanding outside of our region. Talk about some of the recent shows you've been in. You know, I love social media. You know, people don't always say that, but from an artist's perspective, it's just a wonderful thing. It allows me to connect with people from all over the world. And in the last few years, as a result of interacting with these people, I've had art in probably 75 international shows, from Paris, Amsterdam, Dresden. The most recent one was a large group show in Moscow, Russia. Yeah. What kind of artists are you showing with? Are they grouped in themes? Yes, these are. I'm involved with several international groups, and they often have names like visionary artists. You know, I don't know if I'm a visionary artist or surrealist or whatever, but if I can get in a really awesome show in Moscow with some amazing artists from other countries, I can be a visionary artist for that time period.
So how does that work? They're contacting you and asking you. So this is an example of work.
These are a couple images from the most recent show in Moscow. That's a friend of mine from Thailand, and they're looking at that, and they sent me that. He sent me that picture. Yeah, the organizer contacted me and asked me if I'd like to be involved.
Yeah. So are these, you found a way, I know the originals are here, but you found a way to make sure that they were available for people to view.
Yeah, in some cases I send original artwork overseas, or especially in the US to, you know, but it's difficult to send large pieces overseas. I'm actually a little paranoid about it, the damage, and you get into some customs issues. It's difficult. But in this case, they arranged to print high resolution images for artists who weren't there, and they printed them for us and mounted them.
And they're the actual size of the piece.
They are, and they're great detail.
Excellent solution.
It is.
So we only have a couple minutes left. I guess, what more do you want to talk about? I noticed, I can't help, I'm looking at your shirt.
Well, I print art on anything I can and let people, you know, people buy these online. I would like to mention a little art gallery we just opened up in the Cotton District.
Yeah.
It's called Minerva. It's at 203 Maxwell, and it's got a hair salon in it. It's kind of an interesting balance of that and then some really interesting artwork. And I've invited my international friends, some of them, to have art in there.
Great. So this is an image of that interior space where you have artists. And once again, a lot of these are coming from the local community artists who are here, living here, working here. Yeah,
we have a blend of community, local people having art in there, and international people from, France.
Wow.
Austria, Canada. We have several really talented artists that you should come by and visit this gallery. And we'll have a lot of pop-up shows at the gallery for local artists to spotlight them.
Sounds great. Sounds like you are really active. We're so glad that you're here in Starkville and here at Mississippi State University. I think you're showing how art can be used in so many different ways. And so thank you for coming on this show.
Oh, sure.
And where can people find your art if they wanted to find you online?
Well, joemacgown.com is the easiest place, my website. And I'm on Facebook, and I'm on everything.
All right. And we know you love social media, so we'll find you.
Find me.
All right. Thank you for being with us today. And if you have any questions or comments about today's programs, you can email me at lneuenfeldt@caad.msstate.edu. Thank you.